This week we have Mallory McHenry, a harpist, a first harpist. She is teaching us how to maximize your time as a graduate student and how to create the best musical space for yourself as a budding professional. My name is Artina McCain.
My name is Martin McCain.
And we are here to help you create your best musical life through transformational interviews,
performance content,
and educational tips. Wow, I'm so glad we have a harpist on the show today.
Oh, I know.
First, and wow, she's doing so many incredible things. So enjoy the interview.
Hello, everyone. We want to thank you all for being here, and it's very exciting. We have our first harpist, Mallory McHenry. Thank you so much for joining us, Mallory.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to talk a little bit with you guys today.
Now, we're biased because we're all Longhorns here. So
yes, we are.
Yeah. Can we start there? So what took you to UT and where were you? Well, I know you were at Oakwood at HBCU before, but what drew you to UT? Please share.
Honestly, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. During my time at Oakwood, I spent a summer in New York with the Saratoga Harp colony, and that was back in, I can't even remember, it's been so long. But the professor at UT Austin for harp, Delane Leonard, she was there introducing us to early Suzuki training. And I immediately connected with her. And when my time at Oakwood was wrapping up, I reached out to her because I was really interested in also the pedagogical side of teaching instrument. So I reached out to her. She's like, come to UT. We'll get you certified in Suzuki. We'll get you a master's degree in harp. Let's go. Let's do this. So that's how I ended up here. I packed up all my stuff and put it in a U-Haul and came out to Austin, Texas. And I've been here since 2016.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's awesome.
Oh, that's welcome, Longhorn. So how do you like Austin?
I like it. It's a different scene for sure because my HBCU is located in Huntsville, Alabama, which is a really small city, but I'm also from Atlanta. So getting here, it was a bit of a shock, but it's such a music-filled city, and I'm also vegan, so lots of good vegan food here. So it's worked out really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was definitely like a culture shock to me too when I moved to Austin. Yeah. I moved from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, small college town. So yeah, I totally get that. And when I was in school, actually, is the harp studio still on the 6th floor?
Yep.
Yeah, I had a lot of harp friends because my TA office was on the 6th floor, so I was always running into harpists. So yeah, it's like small world.
That's where we hang out.
See, I never knew harpists because I never went to the 6th floor. And harp to me is I don't know, it's like one of those exotic instruments. It's like when you say you play harp, it's like, oh, you play harp? So tell us, how did you start that?
How did I start that?
Yeah.
Well, I was actually a concert pianist prior to becoming a harpist. I became a harpist around the age of 8 years old. So I had been taking piano lessons prior to that. But my parents were encouraging me to pick up another instrument and see where it goes. And I saw somebody play at church one day and I was like, that's what I want to do. My parents were like, that's quite an investment. Are you sure? And we started shortly after, and that's how it came about. I continued with piano lessons, and I also started taking organ lessons as well. And all those things kind of intertwine as far as scoring and how chromaticism works on all three instruments actually. And then I studied both in college, both harp and piano. I was a double major, but I ended up injuring myself, and I had to figure out how to start from scratch with one. So I chose harp. And I've been going with that ever since.
Do you? I know Artina has a lot of stories with injury, and she lectures on that. Do you mind sharing, like how that happened?
Yeah, I was just being clumsy. I was a music theory TA back at Oakwood University, and I was walking back to my TA office with lunch, and I tripped and fell and caught myself. and I ended up fracturing my wrist.
Oh,
Yeah, and it was really bad. I was supposed to be playing a Beethoven sonata in a recital later that day, and everybody was freaking out. It was really bad.
Wow.
We're recovered now. I still, of course, I'll have pain occasionally, but I know how to manage it now, which is great. But yeah, that's how that happened.
Oh, wow. That's a completely different story than mine.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You can go.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, so what was that recovery process like?
It wasn't as bad as I thought. Of course, you know, when you first injure yourself, you're like, oh, there goes my career down the drain. Mm-hmm. But I was able to get pretty immediate care. And then I learned different physical therapy techniques in order to strengthen up my tendons in my wrist and things like that. And it wasn't too bad of a recovery time, maybe 3-4 months, but I did develop pretty strong tendonitis in my wrist after that. So. But I've been able to manage it, so it's been okay.
Well, we're glad that you're recovered, and I'm sad that you picked Harp, but
yeah, because it seems like you're playing a lot, like you're extremely active in Austin, and so I mean that's amazing that you're able to bounce back because not everybody can do that.
Yes, it was definitely a blessing. So,
do you still play piano sometimes now too, or?
Yes. So I do. I attend a church here in Austin, and I am the pianist for the church. So I keep up with my hymns and, you know, music of offering and things like that. So, but I rarely touch the classics. So.
Oh, not no Rachmaninoff.
Right. No, not right now. But I do hope to get back to it eventually once school and things die down. That would be very nice.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So you play harp, so you have to have all your cars have to be pretty large, right?
Yes, I have an SUV. So.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because people think it's a very lengthy process to load up a harp into a car, but it's really not. I joke around and I say, you know, I just throw my instrument in the back of the car and I go. But that's what it feels like, to be honest. But a harp, at least a concert band, can weigh probably minimum 85 pounds. It's just an awkward 85 pounds because you can't really lift it or kind of maneuver it over humps and bumps. You have to put it on a dolly and drag it to the car and then push it into the car. So, but yeah, my car after that can only pretty much hold me.
Right.
So.
Wow.
Yeah. No caravans for the harpist. That's true.
So what kind of performing are you doing?
As of right now, not a lot. I am in preparation for my last doctoral recital, which will feature music by all Black women composers.
Wow.
Which I'm very excited about. And other than that, and recording a couple of harp parts for various groups that we can't meet right now, so I have to sit here and record those. But other than that, nothing right now. But since I've been in Austin, I have played with the Austin Civic Orchestra from time to time. Of course, all the BSOM ensembles. There's so many of them, and very few harpists, so we run around trying to accommodate that. And then I have played second and principal sub for the Valley Symphony Orchestra down in McAllen. So that's been something that I've been doing for the past couple of years. So it's been a pretty active performance life mixed with school performance life. So
yeah,
it's been very busy.
Oh my gosh. And you know, especially in Austin, I mean, you can just make a living just like teaching private lessons, having your own studio. I mean, you have a pretty active teaching schedule.
Yes. So for harpists, we're very few and far between. So I do have a couple of students, which they keep me going. It's nice, and especially during quarantine, they've taught me a lot about listening to yourself and trying to connect back to the basics and listening to nature and finding ways to connect that to your music and really realizing that music does speak to other people outside of yourself. And so I've been trying to encourage them in that vein. So it's not as stressful, you know. It's probably therapeutic to them to be practicing right now. And so I'm trying to learn from that now. As I'm entering my last semester, it's like, okay, this is supposed to heal people in this time, not cause you stress and make you pull your hair out. So
absolutely. we definitely know that as teachers too. So I want to go back and actually talk about your final program. You said you were programming all Black female composers, and that's something I curate a lot of programs for all Black composers. And currently we're doing all Black female composers with 2 other vocal professors from Texas Southern University and Texas Christian University. So I am really curious about maybe your process of finding these Black female composers. I mean, Black female composers sounds like I'm playing a concert of all unicorns. I mean, it's so crazy. So even when I'm doing it, I'm like, yeah, there are some out there. So, just, as a person that also is really interested in that, like, can you tell the listeners about your process? Like, how'd you find these people, especially on Harp?
Exactly. So it was a lengthy process. As Black classical musicians, we'll hear a lot about the Samuel Taylors and the Julius Eastmans and the Scott Joplins, but we don't hear a lot about the women. And so that's what I dedicated my doctoral research to. But it was under the umbrella of a transcription project. So I'm actually taking piano scores and transcribing them to accommodate the harp. So then they're going to be published, so they're more accessible, so people can give it more exposure when they play. So I've taken quite a few pieces, some by Florence Price, Betty Jackson King, Undine Smith Moore, and I've transcribed them to accommodate the instrument, the harp. And it's been kind of tricky, chromaticism is a thing that we deal with on our instrument. So finding ways, it's like a very large Sudoku puzzle. Finding ways to make it work has been pretty much my life's work since I started my doctoral research. But that's what my recital is going to cover. And then there's very few of us African-American harpists, but there are a couple pieces by Brandy Younger. She is a harpist that everybody should know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm going to incorporate those into my recital as well.
I did not know, we know Brandy, but I did not know that she had some transcriptions. So, or you're saying original works.
Yes, she has one original work, and then she has made an arrangement of Lift Every Voice and Sing. So I'm going to incorporate both of those into my recital this semester.
Oh, okay. So Mallory, is it a big secret, or can you tell us which pieces you picked? Because I heard you say Florence Price and Betty Jackson King. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, of course. So Florence Price, I've chosen Meditations and Sketches in Sepia. And then Betty Jackson King's 4 seasonal sketches. I think it's beautiful and it fits the harp beautifully. It was a process to get it transcribed, but I think it beautifully accommodates the harp. And then I took the Afro-American Suite by Smith Moore.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And it's for a trio, piano trio. And I condensed all of the instrumentation down to 4 harps. So it's for a harp ensemble, harp quartet. So, yes, we're in the process of getting those scores finalized and then sent out to be recorded by some of my colleagues, and then it'll come back and we'll put it together in a video for my lecture recital.
Oh, because that was like a video, and I forget it's the year 2020, listeners, and it's COVID.
Everything's virtually, but it's all good. It's okay. I've come to my peace with it. It's fine.
No, and that's so awesome. I mean, like you say, I'm honestly, outside of Brandy, I know you as a Black harpist. I don't know any other ones.
That's really. I know there was like one more that I was aware of, but.
Yes, I'll go ahead and shout out Angelica Hairston. Mm-hmm. She is the founder of Challenge the Stats, which is a nonprofit based out of Atlanta, Georgia. So if you guys look that up, you'll find some pretty awesome stuff. She's done some really good work in increasing awareness for diversity in classical arts and music by African-American composers. So she's done some really good work too.
Thank you. Wow. I love talking to people because I learn things. You shouted out Julius Eastman. I don't know that one. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yes. Yes.
And Yeah, and some of these pieces that you even mentioned for your recital, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know Florence Price wrote that. So, I mean, it's just, in a way, it's a tragedy, but it's also an opportunity for us to learn, as Black artists, but everyone really, that there's so much rich music out there. And it's so exciting when people like you and other people transcribe it so that more than just that instrument can experience those composers.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
congratulations.
Yeah, that's huge that you're gonna, that you're adding to the scholarship for future harpists to be able to have this repertoire. That's amazing.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that's so cool. So just speaking about diversity in classical music, and we love talking to, all type of generations on our show. So as being like a young artist and somebody who's about to finish their DMA, like what's your outlook, especially in the season that we're in our country, on diversity in classical music, and even opportunity for, I'll say, like budding professionals as they enter this world, this crazy classical world?
Right. I like to think positively about things. So I think that our chances now are a lot better. I know I have colleagues that they'll combat the whole, the diversity fellow or you're the diversity hire issue. And I say, take it or run with it. Like, we got to take every opportunity that we can get. But I think that especially when it comes to programming, I think this is an exciting time. I think that we're getting a lot of exposure and we're learning more about each other. I've made connections with other Black artists that I wouldn't have made if a lot of attention has been brought to this current climate. Like, it's unfortunate that it took this, but I think it's going to be great moving forward. Just bringing more awareness. I think that if we can play Beethoven and Debussy and all that stuff year round, I think that we can play the music of these composers as well, and we can start to be the face of classical music.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's golly. Yeah, that's a huge nugget right there.
Be
that's
the
awesome.
face of classical music. Can I see my face?
Not just the face of our diversity in classical music, but the face of classical music.
I love that. Exactly. That is amazing. I want to see our faces on every brochure. That would be awesome. That's great.
So with all of I'm just going to change lanes for a second, because you do so many things. Like in your performance, like what's the one thing that you really love? I mean, do you like orchestral stuff? Do you like soloing, chamber music? Like what's the thing that really, really drives you?
I'm a huge chamber music fan. I actually have a duo group. We're called Element. Me and my flutist, her name is Karen Baumgartner. We just formed a couple of years ago, but we were able to acquire a couple of grants and get some new commissions going. And that's what I absolutely love to do. We get to play brand new music by people who are very deserving of having their music written and played, and that's what we've been focusing on. Right now, we're focusing on programming some William Grant Still transcriptions that I've done to accommodate both of our instruments on our programming for this year, because we are heading up to Minnesota for, we're part of their Class Notes program. So we'll be operating with them for the fall semester and getting into their classrooms virtually. And so that's the music we chose to introduce them to, which is awesome. But that's what I really like to do. I really like collaboration.
That's awesome. And what was the instrumentation of your group? You're obviously harp and flute. Okay. Yeah, I've seen quite a few harp and flutists play together. So that's great. Tell us about, did you say a classical notes program where you can go virtually into classrooms?
Yes. So the education program with Minnesota Public Radio, they have this educational program called Class Notes. And basically what they do, they pick a few chamber groups for an academic year. And based off of what you have to offer in a classroom of elementary, middle school kids, they'll place you on a tour, and you can go and introduce these kids to a sound that they might have never heard before, or music that they've never heard before, and just start to incorporate their listening skills. A lot of the schools that we visit are classical schools, and then some of them are regular public schools. So, and of course, it's gotten cut in half with the in-person experience, but we're still trying to get things recorded so that we can be in their classrooms virtually to give them a little diversity. So
that's amazing.
So
Gosh,
cool.
Thank you so much for what you do. That's awesome.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. Everybody we interview, I'm always like, oh my goodness. So you teach us so many things. So with this program, we always like to talk about how to help people find, their musical life, their musical careers. And it sounds like you've been really innovative with this class notes program and having a chamber ensemble. So tell someone who's maybe even younger than you, like graduating from undergrad, doesn't know what to do. I mean, this is a crazy year to have graduated and try to find a job.
Yeah.
How were you able to initiate, your group or even this program in Minnesota? Because you're in Texas.
Right, exactly. I would say that connections are the most important thing that you can have, and utilizing your resources. A lot of the opportunities that I've been granted kind of fell into my lap, and I made the best of them. And then from those connections kind of made other connections and ran with those. So it's been kind of a game of bring around the rosy, if you will. But I think that is really helpful. So for instance, my experience with American Public Media and Minnesota, I was only granted that privilege by being nominated by some of BSOM's faculty. So it's important to really bridge those gaps, make those connections, nurture those connections, and then have the nurturing that the people that give these things to you, and then pay it forward. So from there, I was able to connect with my flutist. Now, we used to go to festivals back in undergrad. When I got into graduate school, because of American Public Media, we were able to reconnect. And then we, with the knowledge that we had from our resources, we're able to start writing grants and funding our own performance opportunities. So it's just going back to the basics, being kind and courteous. It takes you a long way. So I think that's my biggest piece of advice for people deciding what to do with the next steps, because it's endless. The possibilities, what you can do with music, you can find your niche. That's point blank.
Absolutely.
You got to make it work for you.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. You just have to be a nice person. I feel like everyone says that, and we can't hear that enough because a lot of people don't realize that, the world is so small, and, and it took, I guess, like a faculty member from Butler School to, I guess, some people probably don't know what BSOM is. It became...
sorry.
We're just having our own conversation here.
It became BSOM my last semester.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I remember when that happened. But yeah, you had like a recommendation from a faculty member. And so like for the students that are out there listening, listen to your teachers and do the right thing, because you never know who's going to recommend you for what.
Exactly.
Yes.
Don't shy away from those opportunities. Like, imposter syndrome is a real thing. I experience it all the time, but you're capable. We're all capable.
Like that imposter syndrome is a real thing. Yes. Well, that's awesome. Man, you're so insightful, Mallory. I feel like we're going to have you back again for part 2, like after you graduate, to see what happened.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
That would be great. Yeah.
Dr. McHenry.
Yeah, that's right. You'll have joined us on the other side.
Yes. I can't wait. Literally.
Right. So tell the audience where they can find you, your tags, your
websites,
ensemble, just drop all your stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So as far as personally, I do have a website, MalloryMcHenryHarp.com. I do my best to keep it updated. And then my Instagram is at Harp and Soul. So you can also find me there, and you can follow my dissertation process, as it's been a long and strenuous one. But as far as my duo goes, element.com is where you can find us. And you can see what we've been working on in our projects. We have a couple more videos coming out, hopefully by the end of October, with some new commissions. So we're excited.
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah, you're coming back because I need to know what happens.
Yeah, I'm not even a harpist, and I'm excited about your project and like it getting published and getting out there, because I think that's huge. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah,
I'm very excited. I'm excited to share. So
Definitely. Well, Mallory, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
No, and for having me.
Absolutely.
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. I can't believe she's transcribing Black female piano works for Harp.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
I'm not even a harpist, and I would buy the book. That's
right.
absolutely amazing.
Hopefully she'll transcribe for all of us someday. That was so incredible, and we hope you enjoyed that too. If you like what we do, share it. Send it to a friend. Text them right now.
And make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the bell so you can get the notifications.
Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, McCain Duo, and you can also check us out at our website, McCainDuo.com. See you next time.